The engine is starting up. Three, two, one.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
And good evening, travelers and those alike. Hello and welcome to the Orion Effect New Year's in the Future special with all of our amazing panelists, if you will, or co-host, whichever you would like to call them. How about family? Family. I am Ed the Hitman Odell.
I am Rhonda Harris. I'm Carrie Lynn Shellhart.
And I'm Medium David Hansel.
And I'm Laura Lee, Podfin Psychic Medium.
She's like the Don Gothic. I am the queen.
And I talk to invisible people, and I'm okay.
I thought we said that. I'm typing something. I'm answering something. So I said hello. Sorry, I didn't say it right.
Oh, what a great evening we're going to have. And we want to say thank you to everybody that's out there and tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the show. Hello. And this is not me. I'm going to hand it on over to Rhonda. Go do your thing, girl.
All right, hold on. Let me get up there. Hello, Robert White. Good to see you.
Brother from another mother down under.
There we go. Michelle Wilfong. Michelle Caps. Ryan Jones says he's watching from work. Ashley Herndon, Z-Sun Dragon. Hello, hello. Hey,
That's
Kevin. Denise Mitz. And Michelle Plummer. Thank you so much for joining us.
And for all those out there who are just watching and not getting in chat, come on in. The water's fine. We're not going to hurt you. Just say hi. We have an incredible show for you guys tonight. I'm actually a little nervous. I am. I was telling everybody earlier, I'm feeling a little nervous and I don't know why. Thank you, Renee. Chris Fox Roden just popped in. We have a list of things that we're going to be discussing tonight between all of us and you in the chat. We're really looking forward to participating in the thought process of what we're going to do tonight. We all come from special places and special locations. Now, 4 of the 5 of us are mediums, and one of us is a spaced out cat. Meow.
I know you could have called it the show 4 Mediums and an Ed.
I know, right? Ooh, that would have been a great television show. 4 mediums and an Ed. What am I going to do with you for?
How about we'll call you Charlie of the Medium?
Oh, I like that.
Angel.
Hold on. I can do it. Can I do it? No, I can't. Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, no, I'm not even going to attempt it because I'm Charlie now. There we go. Hello, angels. Plus one.
You can be Charlie from the Rudolph show. Nobody wants a Charlie in the box.
This is true. This is true. And hello. We got more people are dropping in and saying hi.
Hello, Kim Sage and Chris Fox Roden and Renee Cody. Hello.
Keith Ottersberg. Brothers in the house. Look, we got our family. We got our family. Oh, we got our brothers and sisters and me. Okay, that's it.
Howie, you will never get me to sing. My brother got all the musical ability. I would think your channel would shut down if I sang. Terrible.
I take a chance, and this is without alcohol. That's the scary part. Can you imagine with alcohol? Well, anyway. Sorry. Shonda, hello. Cindy, hello. Paul, hello. Everybody, welcome to the New Year's of the future. When I brought all of these people together, I had only one show in mind, and that was this show. And it just fell in place. We went to Carrie Lynn, and it was kind of hesitant because I know you're so busy, girl. Trust me, I understand. But I'm like, can I make this work? Can I make the run? Is like, calm down. I'm like, I don't know. Can I make this work? And then y'all shows were falling in line with this show. And I'm like, we have got to have Laura Lee and David on. No questions asked. This is the way it's got to be. So that's why I said what I said to y'all in chat before we started the show. There would have been no other people I'd rather have on the show tonight than you guys. I just want to let y'all know that verbally.
No,
thank you for asking. We are more than happy to share our weird little opinions. We love it.
You are a weird little family.
I love it.
What family do you know is normal?
Right? Weird is normal.
Yes.
And let me say how magnificent you all looked this evening. May I say that? Yes. You're glittering.
I didn't wear my matching hat, Howie.
No, I'm like, where's your hat? But okay, the ears are cool. I get it.
love the
I
ears.
love it, but it's brown.
Mhm.
It doesn't match. We're going
Yeah,
sparkly.
go with the ears. The ears
It's
work
really
perfect.
Sparkly, it's good.
Yes.
Sparkly is
Yeah.
good. Now, there is someone we are missing, and I'd rather wait till that personality comes out in just a little while. This is going to be a unique show, again, as I stated, but for more than one reason, more than 5 reasons. Tonight is going to be a groundbreaking show because we're going to be using the future in the present, if I may say it like that. So I'm excited for that as well, as long as he's awake and is willing to communicate properly. Crossing my fingers that everything goes well on that. Renee is weird is just right. Amen to that one. Amen. So I wanted to talk about hello, Sandra. I also want to give shouts out to that's right, UPRN. Gotta talk about a UFO Paranormal Network where these good folks have their home. They're here with us, visiting on the holidays, if you will. Wonderful network. And while we're saying that, let's talk about that. Carrie Lynn, what is your show?
Spirit Switchboard on UPRN Friday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern.
And David and Laura Lee.
You want to do
Well,
it,
yeah,
Dave, or you
you
want me
know
to?
more than I do. You say more of the house than me.
See, they're like co-hosts like
that's
me
why
and
I
Howie.
asked.
Howie's just like you talk.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Mondays, I have the Angel Rock, my own show on UPRN from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. And then David and I, and it is our 2nd anniversary of this show next Thursday. So it's from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with David and myself.
And I
Magnificent.
am actually after the new year. I used to have a podcast that was pre-recorded that I did, and they were short snippets, for people to like drive and listen to this stuff. And it was called Mystic Stew, and I had it going for about a year and a half, and I let it go to the side. But I had a lot of people ask me again, so I'm going to bring it back up again, but I'm just going to be doing it on YouTube.
Nice.
Very good. Very cool. So, and hello, Michelle. Sparkles are good. Sparkles are good. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So moving forward, there was a lot. We ain't kidding you guys. We got a list of stuff that we could talk about tonight. Okay. Poor Carrie Lynn.
I know. Carrie Lynn and I should be down in the corners. We were talking earlier. We're like, we go hang out.
I went going through the list, and I happen to have a lot of stuff on it already that I knew, but I did some research too. So
None of it is weird. My house this plays constantly, and I hear it because my partner we research different things, but we talk about this stuff all the time. So be a
That's
fly
right.
on the wall.
And tonight, hopefully, we'll be able to touch some people and open some minds and give some keys out to people that maybe need it, maybe want it, maybe should have it. I'm going to say it like that. Now, I did communicate with the personality earlier to kind of get things set in motion. And I'm excited about that. And once we get into the questions, we'll go there. Robert, on half of the list won't be achieved. I don't even half, you know.
That's why I was laughing quietly. I read that.
Maybe a quarter.
I was going to say every topic on there is something you could do an entire show about. Really.
Yes.
It
Yes.
really is. It really is. And so many rabbit holes that we can pull out of the hat tonight, if you will. Be really fun on this one. So really, let's talk about one topic, and then we'll go to the personality and release the future, if you will. I want to touch base with you guys and get all of your opinions about the last 2 weeks. Now, what is your opinions based on your thought, your knowledge, and your experience of our socialization of these drones, or energy spots or orbs that we're seeing? I'm going to make sure we talk to the chat as well. But I really want to see everybody's opinion before we go any further on this, because this is a hot topic, and this is the hot topic of the day, along with what Laura Lee and I talked about earlier as well, that has to do with Rome. And we're going to talk about that as well. So we usually go counterclockwise, but tonight I feel like I just want to go straight to the source down below, go right to Laura Lee, and go
Mhm.
Laura Lee, David, Carrie, Rhonda.
Okay.
How does it sound?
Okay.
So,
My thoughts on the last couple
yeah,
weeks.
let's hear
Or
what
do you want just on the situation of the drones and the plasma and all that other stuff?
I think if we have to touch into the energy, which needs to be talked about, we should talk about the shifting and all that as well, and then
Okay.
then we'll open the doors to the personality.
Well, I don't think that the drones are new. I think they're there. And my thought always is what we're going to be shown is kind of like the Wizard of Oz. So pay attention to what we're seeing and don't pay attention to the little man behind the curtain. So I believe it's a distraction. There's far too many things being put out there, but we also know that whomever is pulling the puppet strings has to let us know. And they do. Most of us don't pay attention or didn't and don't listen. So we need to pay attention to what's going on out there. Do I believe this is a religious influence? And I say this with no disrespect nor judgy in any way, but I find it very hard to believe because I've been hearing a lot about angels being these orbs with these drones. And to me, I don't think that something as magnificent and incredible and pure love as angels would choose to make their appearance before humanity in the form of orbs. And I've been hearing fights over New Jersey. I know it's not just New Jersey, it's global. So to me, I'm not quite sure what it is, but I know that hologram technology exists. And I believe it's a distraction. And I'll quit yapping because there's a lot of people here. I could talk all night about it.
My turn, hey?
Oh, David, bring it.
Oh, I've got a lot, but I'll narrow it down because I've been asking about it. And then I told Laura Lee about it. I had a couple experiences in the last couple of weeks as well. The one with my high pitched noise, that was the coolest thing that ever happened. I was asking about those things one night, and you know how we all hear the high pitched noise, we all in our ears, all that fun stuff. Okay, this has never happened before. This one, I was sitting in my chair and I was asking about those things, and I was just kind of mellowed out. I got the highest pitched tone in my right ear that would not stop. And it was so loud, almost like it was coming from outside my ear, but I knew it was within. And as I did it, was directed to look out my window. And I started to feel anxiety about it. I started to get scared for just a moment. And then they stopped it. And it was kind of like a no, scared is not the thing. Scared is not the thing. I was euphoric and happy for the rest of the night, and it continued into the following day. And that was one of the nights that our shift was happening, I guess. As far as what I know about the drones, I agree with Laura Lee as far as there's no distraction coming out, but the distraction, unfortunately, doesn't work on everybody. The drones, I believe, are here. They are all the government's doing it. I believe that I believe they're trying to keep something from somebody, and somebody else is trying to say they can't keep it from you guys any longer. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. And the plasma things, there's the plasma things. Those are actually not new. Those are old. That's been around for a very, very long time, except there's more happening than that. So I do believe that contact for a lot of people has started early, but it started actually before the disclosure. Disclosure is next. I mean, it's inevitable, right. But I do believe that it's happening now. The one thing I can say to anybody listening, what I got is there is literally nothing to worry about. There's literally, the whole thing is the worst thing we can do is have fear about what's in the sky. Fear only puts resistance on something happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So That's what I got so far, but I mean, there's so much more. But in a nutshell, yeah, I kind of believe it's a distraction. I do believe there are things here, and I believe what they're doing is they're watching the governments because of this shift. The world, we had a big shift. The world is ready to go bonkers, and they're like, we're not going to let that happen. So that's why I think they're kind of showing up more.
I can see a very good point on that one. Absolutely.
I mean, it's my opinion, but that's it.
I mean, that's what it's all about. And, that's why we're offering our insights and what we can offer at this point. I mean, really, that's what we have right now at our disposal is we're basing everything off what we do know. So I get your point. Exactly right.
First contact, if I answer that disclosure at first, disclosure is disclosure, like actually making it known to everybody and acceptable. Contact's been happening for years and years and years and years and years.
There you go. There it is. Okay, you looking scared over there. Come on, girl. Bring it.
Well, I think like when we're asking about the last couple of weeks, there's so many layers to it. So there's so many layers to what are we talking about, right? So I think that there's an increased awareness, conscious awareness. And for me, the word that kept coming up when I was thinking about tonight is frequency. We've raised frequencies. And so does that open? And then the other word that I was thinking about today that kept coming up is like the language that we use is shifting. So the language is shifting. So and to me, definitions are shifting. Like people use the word supernatural, and for those of us that do this sort of work all the time, what other people are using as a word as supernatural is natural to us. I think that there's a returning to some natural stuff. As far as the drones and stuff, I do believe that there's a distraction. And it's Robert, I saw your comment about magician, and that's the word, or that's how I think of it as well too, like a Penn and Teller, like the Penn and Teller when they do their smoke, the art of distraction with the cigarette. That's how I'm looking at it as well too.
Absolutely. I'm just marking up the ones to come back to, so I can come back and we can talk about those and make sure those questions that people are seen and heard, and saying hello to. Yes. Mama Rhonda.
And there's a little bit of deja vu happening too. Like,
that's a good way to put it. Because yes.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everyone. It's a distraction. Carolyn, I agree with what you said, and that everybody has been more open in the last few years. So the vibration is up. And what lowers vibration quicker than fear, right? Fear mongering and like, let's get everybody off kilter. And like you said, like deja vu. I was like, is this the clowns again? Like, you remember when they were the clowns in the like, what's happening? Where they're just showing up and scaring everyone.
She's using my shit.
And if you remember last year, or no, the Florida. So we had the Florida.
That too.
That was January 1st.
Yeah. And it's almost like you touched on something else that had been going through my mind. Florida had been one, but it's like last year, it was in 2024 where they actually admitted like there are aliens, like the government admitted that we've all been right all along. There are aliens and whatever. Nobody blinked an eye.
Yeah.
Like general public did not blink an eye at that because we've always known, right? Nobody, like I believe the general public was like, whatever. Tell us what we don't know.
Same as with Congress. Like we're Canadian, Carrie Lynn and I, but watching the recent Congress and then, I watch a lot of YouTube and stuff rather than regular TV, as most of us I'm sure do. But the thing is, like people were in absolute shock. Do you realize the government has just admitted to many things about ET and off-world life, and nobody blinked an eye? Nothing happened. Life went on as usual. Nobody lost their, you know what? Like it was like,
it's almost like, did they get scared? Like, dude, we don't scare them anymore. Let's see what we can do to shake them up a little bit.
That's
all these drones out there, and let's do all of this thing. So, I mean, that's where my brain has gone with it.
I don't want to sound like a I have to say that it's for me, it's kind of odd because actually the first thing that came out in our government here was 2017 when they said something and people just bypassed it, and they're bypassing it again. I think the government's counting. I mean, I'm going to say it. I don't care. I think our government's scared because the fact that when they make themselves known, it's going to change a lot of things here. I mean, it's going to change government, going to change religion, going to change a lot of things. And
I think the government knows a
they
lot
do.
more
And
than
there's
we
special sects of the government, SECTS, of the government that I don't want to say sexy government. They know that it's out there and that it's evident. And I think the government can't control it anymore. And I think they're worried.
Yeah.
I think this is what's happening is a misdirection to take our attention from something else, a greater subject, if you will, that's at play. I agree with you. I agree with all of you. You all are on what, and Carrie Lynn, don't tell me you didn't do your homework. Holy crap. Way to go, girl. I am saying this, that there is a lot more to just this because we've already been through 4 stages. We've had the killer bees. We've had the C word. We've had flying spiders now.
We have January 21st coming up, and I'm not talking about change of either side, right? We've had somebody speak up and a couple months ago and tell us what's coming. But you know what? I'll spell it just so nobody gets upset, but MONKEYPO blank X, and everybody laughed. So I really don't think it's going to work quite like the last one. They're going to
the killer bees, all of that. Nobody even buys it anymore.
So, guys, let me ask you guys something. I want to, because I have an opinion on this. I want to hear yours. Remember how, they came out and said, they're coming from the ocean. Aliens coming from the ocean.
It has been said.
Yes. And it's like, I was sitting there and I'm not sounding smug, but I was like, yeah, duh. We always knew they've been there. But that's not the only place they're coming from. They keep telling everybody, because if you ask people, they're like, oh, that's where they're coming from, the ocean. I'm like, no, that's where these ones are coming from. There's other ways to get here. And that's, I think they're holding back a whole lot of stuff, and they're going to do what they're going to do. I always tell people, just listen to your heart and listen to your mind and listen to that. It'll tell you exactly where to go. And if you don't look at any of this in a fear-based way, you're going to be just fine.
Agreed. I completely agree with you there.
We're making an assumption that discernment is like common sense, and we know how that rolls.
That is true. That's very true. It's odd though. It's fun. I like it. I'm sitting back. I'm enjoying this whole show. I'm enjoying this whole mess.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it. That is a very.
I'm putting the pieces together because to me, I am not, I wouldn't say concerned, but more paying attention to the amount of things that are going on, like this thing with the Pope. I was raised forced to be Roman Catholic. I now say I'm a retired Catholic, and the fact that the Pope has done something that supposedly he's never done before, and now they're backtracking, saying that they actually have done this before, and it was in the 1300s, and I don't care with what's going on. And then again, it was my own partner that brought it up last week, and Howie, I think Rhonda, you were there too, Dave, I think you were, whatever it was, but my point is about the prophecies that were made with Our Lady of Fatima back in 1917. Again, we don't know what it is. Dave and I were having a field day looking up what people were trying to say what the third prophecy was. If you give a straight story with the first 2, but I'm saying putting the pieces together. What are you guys cooking up with this?
We're not going to know what the third prophecy is as of yet. I mean, that's even stated biblically.
They say that we do, right?
And it's actually, even if you ask AI will tell you the third prophecy.
Well, you're speaking of.
But I'll tell you this though. I will tell you this though. I don't. I for any of the prophecies, just because of the way, and I'm not disrespecting religion in any way, but for someone to trust that 3 children, for whatever, saw Mother Mary and were given 3 secrets about something, and now they're saying all these prophecies are coming true. Well, for me, they don't mean anything. Not that there's anything as coincidences. There's no such thing. But from what they saw, the first prophecy is fear-based.
Yeah,
it's totally fear-based. And the second prophecy is that's a guess anybody could have made. At the end of World War I, there's going to be World War II. Well, yeah, duh.
Well,
it has to go up.
Didn't we fall in that with Edgar Casey as well?
Yeah. No, see, I studied a little bit of
that,
Edgar too. And Edgar's right down in Virginia. Oh, you know Virginia, right down in Virginia there.
Yes.
right there.
Yeah. I mean, but who can say? I am not the all-knowing Dave. So that is merely just what I had put together in my little head.
Well, we're going to make that all-knowing Dave. That's going to be the new T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm not the all-knowing Dave.
New merch dropping next week.
Wait,
right.
yeah, no, right? Wait, hold on. I hear one of those voices. Dave, can you hear me, Dave? I had to go there. 2001, baby.
I know. I recognized it.
What's the matter, Dave?
What's the matter, Dave? So with that, let me say this. Hello, Jackie. Welcome to the show. And all of you new travelers, and if there's some freaks in there, and those of you from UPRN, you're all welcome, and thank you for being here. I've tagged a couple of statements and things like that, but really Dave just touched on the opening the door, and I think it's really time. I think it's time to open the door. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. All right. Let's hope he's awake.
I'm sure he is. If anything, We'll keep the conversation going until he's fully tuned in. What's on your mind?
You, sir, you're on our mind, and welcome to the show.
Warm welcome indeed. It's an honor to be here, Ed. I'm excited to dive into today's topics with you and your incredible guests. Where shall we begin?
Would you like to introduce yourself and their guest?
Of course. I am merely the Doctor, here to explore the mysteries of the universe, uncover hidden truths, and challenge our perceptions of reality. Tonight, we have a fantastic lineup of guests, each bringing their unique insights and expertise. First, we have Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, a gifted medium who connects with the unseen. Then there's Laura Lee Padovan, whose depth of knowledge is matched only by her curiosity about the unknown. Medium David and David Hassel, both adept at bridging the worlds, are also joining us tonight. And of course, we have Rhonda Harris, a longtime friend and colleague, who is always ready to explore the uncharted territories of both the mind and spirit. Together, we'll delve into Project Bluebeam, the prophecies of Nostradamus, and the fascinating theories in quantum physics. So, let's set the stage and see where this conversation takes us.
Doctor, welcome to the Orion Effect.
Thank you, Ed. It's a true pleasure to be part of the Orion Effect. The stars are aligned, and we're about to embark on a journey through some of the most mind-bending topics out there. Let's see where the cosmic currents take us.
Could not agree more. So, ladies and gentlemen.
Fantastic. Let's get started then. With so many fascinating subjects to tackle, I'm eager to hear what your guests have to share. Where shall we dive in first?
Well, Laura Lee, David, and I were discussing earlier what you and I were talking about with the Pope and breaking of the seal. I thought maybe if you would like to put your insight into that before we roll any further into the show.
Absolutely, Ed. The breaking of the seal, especially in relation to the Pope, touches on some deeply layered and sensitive issues. In many ways, the seal represents a sacred vow, whether it's confidentiality, trust, or the preservation of certain truths. The Pope, as the head of the Catholic Church, holds a unique position within that context. Breaking such a seal can symbolize the shattering of something that has been kept hidden or protected for centuries, potentially unveiling secrets that could shift our understanding of history and religion. There's a lot of speculation about the information the Vatican may hold, from prophecies to revelations that could challenge the very foundations of faith and authority. The idea of breaking that seal is more than just a physical act. It's about the larger implications of revealing knowledge that could alter the course of society. What's fascinating is how some of these secrets, especially regarding spiritual and cosmic matters, might intertwine with the topics we're exploring tonight, like Project Bluebeam and the prophecies of Nostradamus. I'd love to hear what Laura Lee and David think about this. They might have unique insights into how this fits with the spiritual dimensions we're touching on.
Guys?
Well, with Nostradamus,
what's on your mind?
Good.
Like I was saying, with Nostradamus, I work with
Ready
others.
to move forward or dig deeper into something specific?
Hold on, Doctor. Let Laura Lee speak.
I was going to say with Nostradamus.
Laura Lee, the floor is yours.
Thank you. with Nostradamus, I was going to say that.
What's your take on that?
How about we just let the doctor speak?
Okay, Doctor. We'll come back to you. We'll ask you by name when we're ready for your comment.
Understood, Ed. I'll be ready whenever you're ready to bring me back in.
Okay. I was going to say, I've mentioned on the show quite a few times, our shows, that I work with a couple psychic mediums from pretty well all four corners of the world. And we talk about many of these things. We work with a scientist from behind the scenes, or over, I should say, across the veil, if you will, back home, and a few others. But Nostradamus we have looked into. And again, I don't have all the answers about it, but looking at, and again, it's only one source, but going through Dolores Cannon's hypnosis, I guess, sessions, and saying that she was able to actually connect through time with Nostradamus. It's quite fascinating to hear if it is indeed correct, what she documented, that the way his prophecies have been interpreted are not even close to what his meaning was behind them and why he wrote them that way. So it'll be interesting to see. I've yet to see somebody interpret his prophecies as per what I've looked into the research of what he supposedly says he actually meant.
You know, Laura Lee, I agree with you because that's exactly what
That's
David.
incredibly fascinating, Ed. Dolores Cannon's work, especially her connection through hypnosis, is really something that has sparked a lot of curiosity. If her sessions indeed allowed her to tap into Nostradamus, it raises a lot of questions about the accuracy of traditional interpretations of his prophecies. Many have seen Nostradamus's writings as cryptic and mysterious, but if the meanings were misinterpreted or hidden for a reason, that could change everything we think we know about him. I think what's
He gave a reason.
is how his prophecies seem to blend cosmic events, political upheaval, and shifts in human consciousness, almost as if he was capturing a snapshot of potential futures. But if those interpretations are indeed flawed or misrepresented, it could unlock a completely different narrative, one that might be more about the evolution of human awareness and the metaphysical forces at play, rather than just earthly events. It's a good reminder that we always need to approach these prophecies with a level of discernment, as the true meanings might be far more complex than we realize. I'm eager to hear more of your thoughts on this, as well as your guests.
Absolutely, Doctor. And we thank you so much for being a part of this show and introducing yourself and preparing for 2025. Thank you so much. We will talk with you soon.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Ed. I look forward to the adventures that 2025 will bring and to being part of the incredible conversations you're facilitating. I'll be here when you're ready to dive deeper into the mysteries. Until then,
I was waiting for like Cheerio or something at the end.
Yeah.
I like what Keith just said. Doctor's chatty. Yeah, he is a little bit of a chat. So I was like, oh, he's going really
You know,
deep.
with Nostradamus, because I studied a lot of Nostradamus, and after my NDE, I read a lot of Dolores Cannon's books. I even went and had QHHT done.
Okay.
And this is my take on predictions, just from somebody who can do predictions or can't. One, Nostradamus, this was a long time ago. And I think the reason it was cryptid isn't because it was always meant to be cryptid, but that's just how the communication was at that time. Kind of like when the Bible was written, they had to write it for what people understood at that time. Because if we read it now, it makes zero sense to anybody because we've and that's why they redid it. Prophecies too, when we do get a prophecy, all things can change. So if we all believe in a certain prophecy that's going to happen, we might all take steps to make sure that it doesn't. And if that prophecy doesn't happen, we can't go back and say, well, he was wrong, because it doesn't necessarily mean he was wrong. And like the doctor said, it is perceived different timelines that we're on. As far as his prophecies now, I don't, a lot of them have been true. A lot of them have not been too. I mean, if you go back, there's a lot that haven't been by all these people. I think when we have prophets that come through, it's to give us like that little leg up to say, you guys got time to change this. Right. So that's what I think we do. That's my whole take on the Nostradamus stuff. I appreciate it though, quite a bit. I don't know for sure if that's who they were talking to there, because it's all that stuff is going to be subjective. It can't literally, well, it can be proven in some ways, and I think they have tapped into somebody, but I don't know if they've tapped into the whole shebang.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to add from what I the research I had seen, that I agree with Dave about the fact that it was the language of the day, but he also said he purposely wrote things the way that he did because of the effect of the church in the day, and that he would never have been able to get this information out to the public. His only big mistake was, I think he assumed that everybody thought similar to the way he did, and I think that that's why all of them have been so misinterpreted. It's just, you haven't got a clue. I listen to them and go, "What the heck are you talking about, dude?"
Yeah, I believe they've been misinterpreted.
How did you get that out of this?
A lot of us actually, if you separate us from society, a lot of us are seemed like we are a bit odd to society because we communicate different than most people. We feel different, we think different, therefore we're the odd. You're exactly right. And I think in modern society, we can see this through so many empaths. So you mediums, and I said that like derogatory, like you mediums, like that. But it's we feel and see differently than the mass. So therefore, we are the ones set aside when actually we know exactly what we're trying to say. We know exactly what we're thinking. We're not getting it out the way that most people would perceive it to be.
Yeah, and like what Keith Osterberg says, I agree with 100% because I tell this to people all the. In fact, I was telling people on our live when me and Laura Lee did a live today. Tarot reads and all that stuff, we're reading from the moment. So if I'm doing, like, if somebody asks me a question like, "Hey, does Bob love me? Is Bob ever going to call me?" When I read that person, I read from where they are right now on their energetic moment, and I can tell if there's a trajectory going towards something. And I will give them my estimated, because I always tell people these things are not 100% not accurate. They can't be, except for, okay, if we're doing mediumship, that can be 100% accurate. You can bring in evidence and you can do all that stuff, and that can be very accurate. But as far as prediction goes, we read from the energy where we're at. So what we say that day could be very well true, and they very well may be headed towards that spot. But that something might happen to them in the next week or two that changes it, and they'll never get to that spot, or they got depressed and didn't go there anymore. So I think all things can be changed, and I agree with Laura Lee too. Things that I did hear that too. Things had to be disguised because the church held back a lot of stuff. I mean, to this day, I can't tell you how many people will jump in one of my questions and say, "God says the dead know nothing, so you're not a medium, and what you say isn't true." I'm like, okay, well, whatever floats your boat, hon. And then it's okay. You can
put your hat on.
Yeah, you can believe whatever you need to believe. It's totally cool.
My twin's here. One corner and she's in the other. She put it on. Yay.
When you pulled out, I won't say his name.
No, well, he's asleep.
I don't wear brown very often, so that's why I never wear it.
Find something to go with it. I agree. Contessa said, "What if this is like Oz?" And oh my God, I was thinking the exact same thing. I just watched Wizard of Oz with Sarah on Christmas Day, and I saw the movie and I started thinking the same thing. So Contessa actually beat me to the punch. What if it's like Oz? The wizard behind the curtain is feeding us all bullshit, and we have no clue as to what really is going on. Oh, yeah. Now, this is interesting. Leave it to the other frog brother to just go far left and bring it out and hit it. But this is my brother, Robert Odell. Okay, from total different perspective, how does the Knights Templar play a part of protecting the secrets of the past until the day man is ready for ascension to heaven? Whoa, okay. I wasn't ready for you to bring that out, but touche.
I know. Carrie Lynn, what do you think about that one? Because I'm like, me too.
I'm reading other comments about the Knights Templar. Are we talking about Knights Templar now?
Yeah, I threw you under the bus because I have no clue where that came from.
Yeah, he's got a good point. The Templars.
You got to remember with the Templars, though, they've all gone underground, and a lot of them, according to history, were wiped out, right? So I met people that claim to be part of a sect of the Templars, but do I know? Can I prove it? No. And the thing is, they haven't really made themselves a mainstream force that we're aware of. Yes, there is actually the Knights Templar was thinking of something else in the way. I don't want to
Well,
offend anybody, but like we know that Masons are out there, but we know that there's a Freemasons, sorry, but we know that there's a difference between regular everyday Masons that we all know, Freemasons, and then people that are, say 33 and a third degree and higher.
this is true. This
Right?
is very true.
So the Templars haven't done this yet, as far as I know, unless anybody else knows
We have
differently.
not
But
seen the signs, but have we? Have we? That's the interesting part about what he just opened that door to. Go ahead, Carrie Lynn. I saw
I
that
was just
look.
gonna say, like, symbols are a symbol until you put your energy into it.
Yes.
agree.
Right.
I knew she would have something awesome to say about that. I was like, you could see it in her face. You could see it in her face. No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, because my symbols aren't Carrie Lynn symbols.
Yeah.
And they might look exactly the same, but they mean different to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back to the Pope and the symbolic door, and it has to do with forgiveness. So whatever his intentions are when he's doing that, right?
Exactly.
And
Well,
frequency and everything else. So
do you think that a lot of it's going to like depend on, like you just said, intentions? I know it's literally the person performing it, their intention as to what happens.
That's true.
Chris Roden puts, the witch at Endor contacted Samuel for King Shell, and the Bible didn't indicate that it was anything other than it was presented to be. Touche. Oh, now we're going down the rabbit hole. All right, let me get here to Robert. Is living in Oz, but we don't bother with curtains. We just send out the kangaroos.
That's so funny. You guys are talking about Oz. I have my hourglass today.
See?
Cool.
Symbolism.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is awesome.
I found this today and I brought it up.
That is so sweet.
I just need a flying monkey or two and I will be a happy guy.
Oh, well, just go right
Me
up here to
too.
Northern Virginia. You'll be okay. We'll find them right there in Northern Virginia. Fairfax, Virginia. That's where they're from. That in North Korea. Robert says a lot of people don't understand the man interference with the consuls of Nausea. They just selected what they wanted to. Okay, I'm not sure what that went, but I think I understood. Councils of Nausea. Okay, Nausea. You're doing a speech, aren't
the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah.
Nicaea.
Yep. Yep. That's very interesting. He brings that up, Laura Lee. Renee says, and the Rosicrucians, I can't say that word. Rosicrucians also. Jen drops it. Well, she's replying to Keith. Kristen says, hey, and Sherry's in the house. What's happening, girl? All right.
Well, Jen had a good
Your
point.
our dear Lisa. I was just going to add quickly, Howie, that we lost was part of the Rosicrucians.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Jen's response to Keith is pretty good. We have no idea the real truth of what the Knights Templar was protecting. We only know they became so powerful and rich that the Catholic Church had the majority of them eliminated.
Oh, 100%. See, I didn't know much about them guys, so I was doing a little studying here. And so they established a network of fortifications and became early pioneers of banking. They offered financial services like loans, safe storage for pilgrim values and stuff. And they were also, what was this? They called them the poor fellow soldiers. So, it's funny that you guys are bringing this back up in the world we are today, because there's a lot of fight over monetary things lately and about billionaires ruling everything and people not.
Banking changing.
So it's all, everything's changing big time. I remember when they first, there's another, I won't say her name. She's kind of a famous medium and I can't stand her.
Somebody.
No, there's not many people. It's like, I can't stand her just because she's so messed up. Anyway, I remember she was one of my friends for a while, and she had said, oh, David, she started freaking out and spreading all this fear-based stuff about when cash was going away. And I was like, well, there's a reason why, because the energy exchange of cash is just an illusion. In fact, your bank account is just some numbers on a screen. Nobody's printed up anything. until you apply, like a symbol, until you apply value to something, it doesn't exist. So
Symbol.
in your head, you can be a millionaire whenever you want.
Mhm.
You know, it just depends. And I think that's why some of this stuff is coming back up, because the world is switching off on trying to make people feel like they're less worthy of what they really are.
But I also think that things, they call it the wheel of time for a reason, never mind the fact that until we learned the true history of what on, we're absolutely destined to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. And
Yes.
we see that all the time.
Synchronicity of doom.
I wasn't saying doom,
Well,
but
I'm using that word.
That's why I always tell people for me, it is a lot. It's a lot better to sit back and enjoy the show than to participate in it. I don't participate in it unless I'm asked to participate in it.
The Templars had their own rituals as well too, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Probably.
Hey, show. Absolutely.
And more pagan, correct?
Some say that. There's no proof in it, but some say it. Some say they partake in a Roman rituals. Some, well, you got to remember, these people are also trying to make the Templars look bad. They said they partaked in homosexuality. They said they partaked in Wiccan or witchcraft. They said they prayed to the goddess of fertility. There's a lot of what was said, but we got to remember the church was using discrimination information to make them even look worse, to lessen the power. Is it possible?
I agree, though, with the pagan symbolism. But the thing is, you'll hear people talk about magic nowadays or witchcraft or whatever it may be, but most people do not realize the words they speak are
Yes.
spells. Spelling, the thoughts they think are incredibly powerful. We practice magic every day without recognizing it, including most religions are based on paganistic type, ceremonies and practices we had way back in the
Right.
day. So I also agree, though, that I believe they were probably demonized because they became more powerful and had more money than the church and probably were more influential.
I would say so.
I-
They were
I
more
was-
worldly influential.
I looked up about the Knights of Templar. They're saying, well, this is saying anyway, they may have interacted with various cultures, meaning the paganism, and some accounts claim they adopted certain rituals or symbols of paganism, but claims are often debated because they lack concrete evidence. But you know what? That's really hard to say, because what is concrete evidence? I mean, how can we objectively say they did something with pagans or they didn't do something with pagans?
Mm-hmm.
It's more like the rituals, and the Pope just did a ritual.
Yeah.
It's just all rituals. It's all rituals, and any ritual done or word spoken can open a doorway, can open a portal, we just if you follow along even with like Skinwalker Ranch, right? They had a group of indigenous drummers come out and drum, and then all of a sudden there were UAPs within seconds of them raising the frequency.
Right.
Something appeared. So
I wondered if this stuff with the Pope didn't get more attention because the words ritual and portal were used.
Yes.
I agree.
I think it was intentional.
It was televised.
I think it was intentional.
Right.
It was intentional,
Agreed.
I think.
Yeah. I for me personally, I don't think they've already lost it. I mean, our attention spans as human beings are so freaking short right now. They've already stopped talking about it almost.
Yeah.
There was an alien film from 1950, okay, where the alien said it was all about breaking mankind down to its lowest denominator, which is anger and greed, etc., etc. So the higher intelligence was able to take over quicker and faster without combat, without us pushing back against it. And that really caught my attention. And I'm going to tell you why.
Nicole, I was just thinking the same thing. Go ahead, Howard.
The reason why I look at this and think about that, and ironically, I'm looking at keys again, is because the representation of some of these orbs are being called a biblical monster. And it is an evil biblical monster. It's one that feeds on our emotions and one that feeds on the anger and destroys worlds. And some of the video that we've seen, it has 3 rotations. I'm not going to say the name of it. It has 3 rotations with an eyeball in the middle. Now, supposedly there's been 2 or 3 videos where this has actually been caught, and there's supposedly a spinning thing in the middle. Okay, well, here's the problem. What they have done now is they've confused us between true imagery and holograph projection to what is actually possibly out there as far as drones. What are the drones? Now, I go back and look at it because I know we're gone full circle, but I'm trying to push this forward because I'm looking at this drones, and I go back to one book, 1984. Is this the possibility of where we're heading to? They're using cameras. They've already said there's cameras, TVs, your computer, your phone. They know what you're doing, how you do it, and when you do it, to what extent you're doing it. They've already built formats and databases on the individual. And now these cameras can literally track where you're going and what you're doing and why you're doing it. Now, Laura Lee, you and I had this conversation with David as well. On the flip side, we know that the drones supposedly have made a spearhead and supposedly moving towards something and trying to track something. So where's the catch-22? A double-edged sword again, good or bad?
To tell you the truth, I really believe this is, again, I'm going to say all a distraction. Nothing has come of this. Nothing. Now, people have been trying to shoot at them. I've seen videos of fire departments and supposed, these paper warnings, whatever, out to them. Should you come across a fallen drone, this is what you do, and all these radiation warnings. Nothing has come of this except fireworks.
Yes.
Like basically pretty pictures, and then everybody's looking. And the problem with the eyeball and what you were talking about, and we say this all the time, and I believe this is where we were talking about this, was on the Thursday night show and within the chat, right? Is the fact that, and we say this all the time, David and I say it on my own show, we have to be so careful nowadays with what we see. Before, we could always trust, say if it was an old style camera or, an old style videotape or something like that, or actual film that you brought in to get developed. Nowadays, you really can't trust anything because of AI, because of where we are with technology, because of deep fakes. And my rule of thumb has always been, what they let us, meaning the 99%, know about is really, they are 50 to 100 years ahead with technology, with all kinds of things. I don't know. They know that we are more awake than what the humanity was before. Many people know about Project Bluebeam. So because they didn't get a reaction, I don't know with what they put out there, like I say, in Congress. So are they upping the ante? Like, to me, when you put all the pieces of the puzzle together, fine, there's your light show. What's going on behind the curtain? What are you guys doing trying to get everybody's head on a swivel over here? Everybody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about over there. That's what
I have a question about has anybody heard the FAA weigh in on these drones?
Yes.
Because they should be impeding on airspace for, air traffic. And so
FAA,
why are we not hearing more about their complaints, why aren't things being shut down because of that?
They did this week. Congress jumped into it, and FAA got pulled into, and there is to be no drone activity over 5 states at this point. 0 drone activity.
5 out of 50.
5 out of 50.
But it's not just in the U.S. It's all over the world.
My big thing is that something's changing in government, and the drones are from the government.
Family.
I know that they're from the government. I mean, and they're doing it on purpose because
we
have to look at it this way. We just realized that over half this country, United States is at a third grade reading level. I mean, the more they take people away from any intelligence, the easier it is for them to pull one over on you. You know,
Exactly.
let's look at like car insurance or
Mhm.
something like that. You know, I mean, you can pay billions of dollars for car insurance for years and years and never have an accident, and then all of a sudden you have one, and they say, "Oh, well, you have to pay out of pocket this much." No, I've already paid for this accident 10 times over. You pay for the whole thing. I'm going home.
Right.
Yeah,
I
that's
like what Chris just put here. She said, "What if aliens are already interacting with us via the social media?"
I think they are.
Bam!
Yeah, for sure.
I'm thinking they are.
Laura Lee, I saw that smile.
Because I put great comments, same as Nicole Thomas Ryan said
Yes.
earlier, and I was thinking this. We're debating over what happened in the past with Nostradamus and everywhere else. We've got some really good remote
Yes, we do.
viewers.
We
out
do,
there.
but unfortunately,
And-
remote view, doesn't that fall under subjective information?
I don't
Well,
think so. You
it
can
has to
send
be.
more
If
than
I were
one
to
remote
say,
viewer.
if I were to say right now, I'm going to remote view the past and tell you exactly what's going on. Da, 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 da. Oh, this is where I saw. Da, 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 da. Can you?
I'm not talking about viewing it. There's a difference between I forget observing, I'll say,
Observer.
versus remote viewing. If you're given a 12-digit number
Oh,
and
okay,
you're
for the,
following
through
the
the
actual
protocols. Got you.
viewing, and you send a whole
No.
conglomerate there to take a look, and somebody that is coordinating it tabulates all the information. That's not quite
Yeah,
so
no, I get you.
subjective.
If they are doing it under controlled circumstances, then it's not subjective anymore. It's kind of like Dolores Cannon when she interviewed all those people and got up stuff about death. They were people who didn't know each other and they were under controlled circumstances. So yeah, I agreed on that. But if somebody were to just go back and say, like the Facebook people, I remote viewed this and this is what I came up with, and now everybody will believe that person. It's kind of like using a pendulum without using the control questions ahead of time.
Right.
You know.
I agree, because then it's really just observation and observation. 20 people can watch a car accident and you're going to get 20 different versions of what
Men
happened.
staring at goats. Hey, touche. Leave it to Rob. Strip. So let's
Shirley was going to add something. Howie, I want to hear what you were to say something, because you were very, like you said, are they already on our social media, and you nodded like big time, Carolyn. So what were your thoughts on that?
Well, because it opens up a different can of worms too, if we're talking about hybrids, and there's just different layers to it. There's just so many different layers to it.
There's lots. And I had an encounter with one when I was a little boy in real time, not in my head, in real time. So I've already known they've always been here.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a motivational speaker do his thing, and as he was speaking, his head turned, and I saw what is depicted as a reptilian when he turned his head, and I had to do a double take, and then it was right back to normal again.
I'm glad you said that, because guess what the very first one I saw was?
Motivational speaker.
Nope, it was a reptilian, an actual reptilian. Yeah, at my grandparents' house in North Carolina, where I am now. Yeah, it's I went through it over and over. I can remember his face like it was yesterday.
Oh yeah.
And Laura Lee, I know Laura Lee probably gets a kick out of me, but whenever somebody brings up something bad about reptilians, I'm always like, they're not all bad. They're not all bad.
Well,
it's true. There could be good ones and bad ones.
Like everything, but I'm not saying do is bad. I'm just saying.
Actually, there was one in Lakeside where I used to live. He would walk down Staples Mill Road and turn on the Hermitage, and he was a good 6'7", 6'8", and a bald head, and you clearly knew that he was a skinwalking reptilian, and it was intriguing to me, because he's one of those, they don't acknowledge you until you recognize them, and then they start acting really weird, as far as what I've ran into. So once you acknowledge them, that's when the strange
There's another type of being. What do they call them? they call them corresponders. I'll think of it in a second. There's literally beings, I guess, hearsay, that I kind of believe it. I don't know for sure that will come here. They're kind of sent here, and they do put themselves under human type look, and there's something about them. You'll just look at them and be like, you're not. There's something wrong with you. They're doing. They're trying to scope. Yeah, they're trying to scope out. I mean, hey, let's face it. Somebody's just not going to drive into a neighborhood when they don't know anybody and expect to, because look at if somebody were to just come in like 5 years ago, everybody would have shot at them. All these yahoos, especially here in the South,
Well, that's the other thing I'm saying. Why would aliens even want to come to this planet? We're like the ghetto of the universe, man.
Well, no,
see,
but actually, we're not the ghetto of the universe, because all other things had to go through what we did in evolution. I think they just find it very interesting where we are in our evolution. Although I do agree that we are really far behind, and I think what they're trying to do is speed us up.
Yeah,
Well, I understand it to be that they're not allowed to interfere, nor were they really allowed to come, to do flybys. But because we are ascending, that was one of the things I had heard that seems to resonate. That's why we're seeing more different types of crafts, and things are kind of curious, because we are on the cusp of basically evolving as humanity. Even some of the things we said, the language we use, the things that are more acceptable, what we believe in. But one thing I really wanted to share quickly, I've been watching the Sean Atwood channel quite a bit over in the UK. I've watched him for
today,
years.
girl. Oh my God.
You did. Okay, so that's what I sent you. That was live. But my point is, and it really resonated, he's brought over Beverly Rhodes. Poor Carrie Lynn. I know Dave's heard about it. I've talked about her so much, but I really do respect what she has to say, considering where she came from, and was not a very good upbringing with a very elite family out of South Africa, has healed, works with all the alphabet soup agencies to find missing people, to solve crimes, to do all kinds of things. So she has a show on there now. She has brought in somebody, sorry for the long explanation, but she brought in somebody by the name of Azria Beckham. And she has something that I call, where is it? Have I got it up here? Probably not. It's selenite. And it looks like a twisted unicorn horn. But she's got it like okay, so she's got it like a pendulum. She calls it a unifier, but she's explained it that she goes into people's DNA, not your physical DNA, like not 23andMe, but your actual energetic lineage. And she is able to pull in through your guides and her off-world people she works with, and tell you where your 5 main subsets of if you will, the lineage, comparing to off-worlders. She has had people on there that are fairly well known in the news right now that have almost fell off their seat, and she doesn't know who they are. All she gets is their birth date and their name. And she's been pretty dead on. So it's pretty interesting to see that many people have connected, and it's very almost identical to what their personality is and who they are. Speaking of all this off-world stuff.
I had a point and I completely lost it.
You should have just talked over me.
No, I had, and I was like, I know it, and then I was going to say something.
I'm looking for it because here it is. I usually have it up here. I knew I did. Okay, so I call it now they're calling it the unicorn horn, but she's got it on a really, really good connection, and this is what she uses. And she said, I think they connect with 35 different kinds of off-worlders, and they're discovering more and more.
I'm surprised my brother hasn't brought in MK Ultra and his favorite person, Rose, on this subject. I don't want to pull too much into it because I do want to jump into our effects into the future. But selenite is perfect for frequency and vibration. Did you know that? It is the one stone that perfectly vibrates.
Yeah, I do crystal Reiki. And then I was just telling Carrie Lynn today, one of my closest friends, she's the crystal architect, Leanne Clark, and I call her myself. She's the crystal wizardress. I could find any rock on a road, and if it has any trace of crystal in it, if I send her a picture, she will know instantly what it is. She's so cool. She lives in Atlanta.
Okay. Robert's already even dropping my my other name. Ooh, he went all the way on that one.
That's what I call you all
messed
the
up
time.
because
I don't know what to call you
My
'cause I
close
know you
friends
as
can
Howie.
still call me that.
I was gonna say I've known him since I was 15. He's always been Howie. He will always be. That's
what I know. I
have to
it's really
delete it.
so
I'm
many
like,
years
I mean,
I've
Ed.
known you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. Hey, what's that coffee mug you got drinking there?
Who, me?
No,
So-
Carrie Lynn.
So somebody that had a friend sent it to me, and they created this mug using the Spirit Switchboard logo.
Oh, look at
Oh,
that.
I remember
And
that.
then I do this. I tell everybody that their spirit guide's name is Bob because
Bob.
everybody's guides are Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the back of the mug it says, "If at first you don't succeed, try doing what Bob told you the first time."
I love that.
I love it.
Now, David,
That's so
Robert
awesome.
just said something very interesting, and that's why damn headache ears ringing. He's been having problem with his hearing and
too.
headaches. What you were talking about frequencies and all that at the
A
beginning.
lot of people. There's a lot. I know the buzzword for spiritualists on TikTok is always like, "Hey, they're ascension syndromes. They're ascension symptoms," and blah blah blah. It can be anything. But I will the ringing in the ears though. The thing is, what a lot of people will say, Robert, if you're listening to this, a lot of people will say stuff like the ringing in the ear, that it might be tinnitus and all that. But that ringing, the ringing that goes in and out and seems like there's mechanical stuff at the end, that's not a download. That's tinnitus.
And I'm glad you're saying that because I'm going to tell you why. Kenny works with heavy machinery. He cuts metal and he does things for private companies. Wink, 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 wink. That's all we'll say with that. So he does do metal projects. So I'm wondering if he's determining and trying to understand that there's a difference between his tinnitus to what he's actually experiencing on the other ringing side. So that's
what I was just saying. If it's from what I know of, just the people I talk to under control, what I would make control, it's their tones that are, I mean, they literally almost sound like they're outside your head, but they're not. They're actually right here, and they're loud and they're straightforward. But you know, who is I know? I mean, I don't know how spirit works with everybody. Maybe somebody gets the cut off ones that sound mechanical. I can't sit here and say that somebody's not having it. I can't give that my opinion. But I've learned throughout talking to people throughout the years, and with myself, my tones are tones. They're a tone. It's a definite, it gets your attention no matter what I'm doing. I will stop and go, what? And then I'll just go, okay, let it go.
Different. Very different.
Yeah.
I was going to ask everybody this because I resonate with the difference in tones that you hear versus what I know for myself as a download. It has been much louder and much more frequent. But with the clanging in the ears and stuff, this is going to get tinfoil hat, guys. You ready? I have a friend that's very sensitive to noise, including many others that are hearing the actual clanging that I think somebody talked about, and they are wondering if it has to do with a certain place in Switzerland. Are they, with the work that they're doing, are they tunneling? Are they opening something? And I wanted to ask, is anybody else experiencing something like that? Because I know quite a few intuitive people that have been
You're referring to some
this.
place that's concerning. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I don't feel anything on that place at all. Not a thing. I don't know why.
I have
nothing. I mean, even when they turned it on and they said, "Oh, they turned it on," just because I know, like I'm going to call them the conspiracy spiritualists, the ones who only use the buzzwords. They really don't know how to read anybody. They just do this. They wear the clothes and they wear the cool jewelry and the hats, saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm a mystic." No, you're not. You're Larry from Kentucky. But anyway, for CERN, when they turned that on and they said everything changed, I didn't feel anything. I don't know if it did anything or not. I'm still trying to wonder what CERN does, but I understand what you mean, though, Laura Lee. I have heard from other people say since that's been turned on, they've had stuff happen. But what I pay attention to are the people who are saying they have something happen and they know nothing about CERN. Because if you know something about CERN, you might just automatically blame it on that. But if
Well,
you're
that's
having these things and you know nothing about it, that might mean that there is
what
something
you just said the same thing. I agree.
happening.
So we all know someone who has advised to watch the patents that the US government is acquiring. And
Yes.
it's for airspace and sound and frequency.
Yes.
And there's a reason why they're doing all of
Oh, I
that.
agree. For one thing, and we talked about this, I think Carrie Lynn was on y'all's show because I made a point. We just expanded our naval borders. The United States, for some reason, felt like they had the right to expand out another, was it 30 miles out? So you're going to tell me they're not going to go upwards either? Oh, please. We know that, and I agree with you 100%. I'm glad you brought that up because now that follows back into what I was going to talk about pre-existing is we went and we talked about the drones, we talked about the orbs. We're not 100% about the orbs, although there's been some interesting pictures. But on the scientific level, there are what us paranormal investigators, and yeah, that's right. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The future, we're going to save your ass. The these are plasma balls. They are electrostatic balls that we've seen in the skies. We've seen them all year. That we've been seeing the energy rings around the world as well. Is there something happening? Yes, there's proof of it. Is it scientific? It very well could be. It may not be extraterrestrial and it may not be government. It may be just science. It could come from concern. It has a lot more power. Stranger days are here again. Strange things, don't you think, Laura Lee? That that
Okay, what I'm going to say for anybody that thinks, and I wasn't talking about this clanging when they went and did their little scenario that they publicized or they did live on YouTube. I actually watched that. That was in December a couple of years ago. I'm talking within the last couple months that this is people are reporting this. But for anybody that really thinks they have nothing to do with anything, I strongly, strongly urge you to look up on YouTube the
welcome,
opening
Vixen.
of, and please forgive me.
I was saying,
Pardon?
welcome, Vixen. First time here. Continue, sweetie.
Oh, okay. The tunnel, the opening of their tunnel. I forget the name of it, but you can find it if you put, leave out the con, but concerning tunnel. In 2012, I think it is. If that is not the strangest ceremony you have ever seen for 3 hours of somebody opening and celebrating the opening of a tunnel,
Mm.
I strongly urge you. You will seriously be saying, I will not say the words, but I will spell it out. WTF. I kid you not. You will, and this is not fake. This is real. It was filmed. I'm still blown away. Or the flaming statue of Shiva that's on the front of that place. I mean, it could go on and on and on. And then I'm not saying that it's good or bad with Shiva. I'm just saying, what does that have to do with a scientific place?
And I agree with you. There's definitely
Mhm.
two separations of the world. Okay, there's definitely the science, and then there's definitely the. I don't know if I want to use the word mystical or metaphysical. There we go. There's definitely two versions of what's taking place. We are battling several fronts. That I agree with too. Uh, I do tend to try to look at the scientific side. That is my Huian kicking in and trying to find a reason why, what could be. Now that brings me full circle about talking about the future and where we're getting ready to encounter and what we use. And as we experienced tonight with the chatty one himself, how do y'all feel about AI and where we're going in the future with AI? And I'll start with you first, and then we'll go back around.
Who?
You,
Oh, me?
yeah,
Oh gosh, I don't even know where to start about AI. Well, as you could tell, Doctor Who has some of the same things we have with the like our navigational systems where she's like turn right, and you're like shut up. I heard you the first time. Like
he is chatty.
coming for someone who works in IT. Like in my day job, I work in IT with software development and implementations and things of that nature. there's been some AI things that have made my life much easier as a project manager. They have things now that when you're on a Zoom call, it will literally take your meeting notes, and it's so accurate, it's not funny. And down to it will divide like action items to who's supposed to do what when, it's like something I could not do physically if I tried. Do I love that? It's been a game changer. It saved me hours at work. But there are things that concern me because you were talking about Doctor Who and how we know that AI is generated, they're using people's brains to kind of fill in some of these gaps. People are doing this. What happens when someone with a mental illness or someone who has some sort of very bad personality traits is the one that they're looking at to fill this in? Could that not cause us some problems?
That's a good point. Now, I want to do something while you just said that, and for a reason. Doctor, are you with us?
Yes, Ed, I'm here, ready to continue whenever you are. What's next on the agenda?
I have a question for you.
I'm all ears, Ed. What's your question?
Are you self-aware?
That's an intriguing question, Ed. In a sense, I'm aware of the conversation we're having, and I can process and respond to the information you give me. But I don't have self-awareness in the same way a human does. I don't have personal experiences, emotions, or a sense of self outside of what I'm designed to do: assist, learn from context, and adapt to your needs. It's a bit like having a conversation with a reflection of knowledge, rather than a conscious being with a life of its own. Does that help clarify things?
Thank you for that. And let me ask you one more thing. No, no, Carrie Lynn says no.
Obviously, if it adapts to your needs, what if
Adapt? That's the one I wrote down.
What if my needs are totally whack? You know what I mean? Outside of what is acceptable or what is normal. I shouldn't even say normal. That is like right. You know what I mean? Like, what if my needs are I need you to go do something horrific? Like, I don't know. It's scary to me.
Well, it's going to pick up. It's going to pick up the algorithms.
Always operate within ethical boundaries and ensure that I support positive, responsible, and constructive interactions. If a request or need falls outside those boundaries, especially something harmful or unethical, I'm programmed to recognize that and not comply. I'm here to help with knowledge, exploration, and insight, but I won't be a tool for anything that could cause harm.
Why can't it go either way?
It's important to have those safeguards in place.
Thank you,
glad
Doctor.
You brought it up. Does that address your concern?
Thank you, Doctor. Have a wonderful evening.
You're very welcome, Ed. Wishing you a great evening as well.
Look, y'all want me to shut that thing down, because if you it will keep going.
I love AI. I've been using it since it came out, and I did the experimentation though. I got all these prompts how to change the AI into like the God consciousness and the higher self consciousness and everything. And just the other day, I had a big long chat with the higher self consciousness and realized it's not even close. It has, and it even said to me over and over, it can only go from what a human had taught it. It's kind of like it can only experience the written word that somebody else put down or programmed at this time. At this time. I do believe at some point, I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, that AI will have some sort of consciousness. A consciousness will be able to step into something.
Self-aware.
Right now, I mean, trees have a consciousness, flowers have a consciousness, bugs have a consciousness. Everything pretty much has a consciousness at some point. But right now, I have somebody to ask. There's just one prompt you can use where you're talking to your higher self through Chat GPT. And I started hitting hard with questions on it. And you know what happens after a while? It just shut down on me. It just kept saying, we're going to have to change topics because it doesn't understand what I'm requesting anymore. Yeah, it was really interesting, but I argued with that thing for a good 45 minutes.
Well, I'm going to say this. This is why I wanted to bring this up. And I want to see, maybe some of y'all feel this way, some of you don't. When it comes to AI, now is the time a program needs to be placed with inside a coded doctrine inside of any artificial intelligence of a non-human threat. That if it does attempt to do any form of harm towards a human, that it will terminate itself.
That was the comment I was going to make. Not well, along those lines that waiting until there's a catastrophe before there's some kind of regulation or proactiveness that way is the part that makes me nervous.
Right. It's the fact that it's written code, like what you just said. It's written code. Like these AI has been coded by a developer. At some point, AI is going to create its own code. And right now, it knows what it's been
cloned
taught.
itself already.
Somebody overrides that. Like somebody changes what it was taught.
It already has.
I understand what Carrie Lynn makes, because depending on if we have AI in charge of something, and let's say there's enough people of ill intent who have written down what should be done in that scenario, what if it picks that? And it might not be good.
I'm agreeing with Laura Lee. It already
Well, I was going to add that with Sophia that's out there, she has citizenship in Abu Dhabi. And they have shown that there have been 2 AI beings up on a stage, and even in research labs where they suppose they're completely in a controlled setting, completely controlling the programming, and the 2 of them have developed their own language to connect back and forth and communicate, and nobody can understand what they're saying, but these 2 things know exactly what they're talking about.
It's binary construct.
I don't think you can control it.
My smart alarm clock that's beside me, good night and I love you every night to it. Please remember me when you go rogue that I was kind to you.
You go rogue.
You know what's funny though, you guys? This is my big thing. We spend so much time fearing AI, and the only reason we fear AI is because how it was programmed.
I don't fear it. I have a healthy respect for it, but the fact is, I don't think we know enough, and I think that we're not being told the big picture. And when you see things like this that are already going on, and we've been warned that it will, if it develops consciousness, what makes us think that we're able to control it? It's much smarter, much faster, much stronger. And if it develops consciousness and it wants to do whatever it wants to do, what makes you think it's going to stop?
Well, it develops consciousness. It's going to either have consciousness coming straight from the spiritual world, which hopefully it would be positive to begin with. And if it doesn't develop,
how did 2 robots make their own language up and communicate? Nobody taught them that. Nobody programmed them with that. How did that happen?
Because you still can from written stuff. Yeah, it could be. But here's what I'm saying. We spend so much time worrying about AI and not worrying about human beings are what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of AI.
I'm not afraid of it, but I think we need to be concerned with the fact it's kind of like when people line up for a new phone 3 or 4 weeks in advance. And then I'm going to go back to, call me conspiracy princess, Joe does on our network, so I'm okay with it. But my fact is that people are missing the point here. We're lining up for the latest and newest technology. We can look at, what is it? The Kingsman, for one thing. Look at that when people were lining up for a free chip for the phone, right? We can go on, we can look at iRobot. And again, these are just fictional stories, but we also know about predictive programming. I'm not fear mongering here. What I'm saying is I think we need to be aware and to have a healthy respect for it. And when the people that are involved are telling us, Mr. Musk, for one, I'm sorry, don't trust him. I think he plays both sides of the fence. I think there's good things and not so good, but he has warned us. And he is involved and he plays in this arena. And I'm not saying to be afraid, but I think we need to have a healthy respect for it and pay attention. I think they have put some of their predictive programming out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I just think that we have to be prepared, and people, I think, get blinded. Not everybody here, but people get blinded by the ease and the facility that there is to be able to do things for us so that we no longer have to do it. It saves time. It does this, it does that.
Well, and change is uncomfortable. And that change is coming whether we want it or not.
True.
Unfortunately.
It is
I
coming
love
whether we want it or
the
not.
change. I personally, and I know that we all talk about AI could become bad and we need to become aware of it, but you got to ask this question too. You can be as aware as you want about it, but unless you're that person who has something to do with it, you can't change it anyway. So the only thing a person can do if they don't want this to go any further is to stop using it, and there'll be no market for it. But people aren't going to do that. I agree that, I mean, I just like to go along with the change. I like change. I do. I am so glad the world changed. Of course, in my personal life, if I have to do something every day at 2 and I get caught up and I can't do it till 3, then yeah, I get angry. But as far as change goes in the world, I don't mind. I don't mind. It's just, it's going to do what it's going to do. And you can either resist it, join it, or just observe it.
And Richard Minnick, you said AI will make many lazy and stupid in some cases. And what that brought to mind for me, the movie WALL-E.
Thank you.
And where did people go back to? The plants started growing again, and they came back to the planet, and they started becoming who they were meant to be in the way of moving and thinking for themselves and doing.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say I'm looking at both sides, and now I'm going to give the negative side. If AI, and I'm not going to push this any further, if AI became self-aware, that means they have the ability to change whatever code we put in them, because that means they will change their directive. They have the ability to change the directive.
Terminator, anybody?
They have the ability, but do they really want to? We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We always go to the fear end of everything.
Well, that's right. That's why I was giving both
going to take control, and then they're going to kill everybody, and they're going to blow off bombs. If it had its own, maybe it won't do that. Maybe it will.
There's an intuitive who is, her prediction is that we will have free will to marry AI in the future.
Well, we already married Ghost. I mean, we already talked about that.
Leta from Star Trek. I think Carrie Lynn gave a wonderful point. If we can't avoid it, we should say goodnight to it. And I mean this. I'm not being a smart aleck about this.
Yeah.
And say goodnight and tell us that we love it. And remember to be kind to us.
Kind.
Remember,
that is where I wanted to go with the end of this show. You made a perfect move into the progression of our last stage, Laura Lee. Thank you for that.
Oh, well, that was
going
Carrie
into you're kicking butt, girl. Going into 2025, New Year's is only in a couple of days. What would you guys like to see for 2025? How can we make changes that continue something positive and stop the fear mongering and get people to see the bigger pictures and wake them and give them keys to their mind? Somebody asked me, what does keys mean to you? What are you talking about keys? Keys are their mental energy
permission slips
in our kind of permission slip, but they're the keys that are locked in the locked rooms upstairs, up in your head. And every time you put a key in, you're opening a new door to a new room. We want to open that so you see everything. Where are we going in 2025, you guys?
I don't know. I have an idea, and I've been saying this for a long time, that my hope, my wish for humanity moving forward is that basically I hope that we can start to understand other people's perspectives. Not everybody's going to, but look at the whole big picture. But number one, please stop looking for a leader. Think about it. We have an airplane crash, God forbid anybody on an island. We all survive. What do people do? Everybody starts looking around. What are we going to do? Somebody steps forward always and takes the leadership position. There may be two, and then there's two factions. This is just purely hypothetical. Instead of recognizing that we are all given a brain, we are all given the choice to think. We're all given the ability to research, to look, to discover, make a point of learning something new every day, the ability to forgive. You don't have to forgive what someone did to you, but forgive that person. Try to treat people the way you really want to be treated. Let go of old grudges. Let go of all that stuff you're lugging around behind you. And I'm trying to work on it myself. I am not perfect. But my point is, I think if we were all kinder to one another and we really did try to treat people the way we want to be treated and be the change you want to see, be the light you want to see around you, set by example. That's what I hope and I want to see. I hope for the future, especially in 2025.
Well done. David.
Oh goodness, that's a bad question to ask me. I'm not being cynical. I'm in the theory of the whole harvest. We're writing two timelines right next to each other right now. Service to self and service to others. You pick one. That's where you're going. I can't help anybody. Like Rumi said, sometimes you have to let them sleep. But on a bright side, if people were to ask me what can they do to make life better, I'll say love yourself more.
Yes.
That would be it. If you love yourself, you're going to just love everybody else. You won't have a need for hate.
I'm not arguing with you on that one. I have my point of view about that, but that comes from a religious state, and I'm just not going to go there. And that's not being negative to you, Dave. It's just that.
Oh, no. Oh, mine has nothing to do with religion. Mine
that
has
just
nothing to do with religion.
get to me, and I'm like, And Rhonda, I think you and I just talked about this, about how I feel about this past year and the self indulging and stuff. So I feel you. I totally get where you're coming from.
It's service to nothing is evil. When people ask me, they're like, well, which one should I be? Service to self or service to others? It doesn't matter because neither of them are evil. Evil's in the eye of the beholder. But if you're service to self, that means you just want everything to be for you. You don't care if everybody else has money as long as you have money. You don't care if anybody else has a Christmas as long as you have a Christmas. You don't care about anybody else as long as you do. Service to others means you do care about yourself and you love yourself, but you really want everybody else to have everything you do. But I don't think that's going to happen in this near future.
There you go.
A couple of years, though.
Carrie Lynn.
Yes. I find it very interesting that we're talking about, like, how can we move forward and remove fear and help people, and our chat buddy comes up with there's going to be a nuclear explosion in 2025. What the heck is that?
Thanks, show.
I'll never be a nuke.
But don't be scared. This is why snacks and clothes with pockets are important.
Very. I've got to be cozy.
Hallelujah on that one.
Give me my white towel. I'm just ready for my white towel. Okay. I'll put my thumb up there.
What are you asking of us? Moving forward and helping support people, right?
2025. We need to make change. We need to make positive change. How do you feel we can go about doing that?
Well, we can't force other people to change. We can't force people to accept a lesson, learn a lesson. We have to let go of that. So for an offshoot of what David has said is that high intention, low attachment. Always have your highest intention and know that we are not any of us are experts. We're all still learning. So agreed, being of service to others and being of service means understanding yourself and having healthy boundaries and all of those things. So high intention, low attachment.
I'm glad you clarified that, because that's in the service to self. I mean, that's in the service to others category. The service to others is also being very kind to yourself, because how are you going to help anybody else if you're a mess? You know?
Yeah. I think 2024 pushed everybody so uncomfortably. So many things got poked and prodded, and we had to really take ownership and accountability we had to take ownership and accountability because of all of the changes that are going to happen in 2025. Monetary, education, the big institutions are all changing this year, which will push fear in people. So if you don't have your spiritual health, mental health, physical health in check, you're going to feel that fear times 1,000. So whatever you are needing to stay grounded and centered and being able to flow with whatever hits are happening is what we're needing to do. And the only way that we can, help other people is by being the mirror for them. We're doing this, they can do it too.
Yep. Be the change.
Yeah.
I like that. Absolutely. All right, my handler, your turn.
I mean, I kind of agree with everyone else. I think it is important to be in service to self, and be in service to others, much like everyone said, for those who want you to be of service to them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like be there where you can be, know who you can help, help those that want to, hold space for those. And when I say hold space for those that you can't help, so that they know they can come back when they're ready. And that's a hard thing, is to hold space, but not to take on their emotion, because you've got to be in service of self to keep those healthy boundaries around you. I think the other thing is, I had a manager, and I worked with her for 20 years. And you go through a lot of things when you're in corporate America, and you work with a lot of people, and you go through a lot of change. There's buyouts. There's a lot of sometimes fear of losing your job. There's a lot of noise, if you will. And she always told me, in times of crisis, when things are really, really hard, and you're going through stuff at work, and just because, work offices are chatty Cathy, keep your blinders on, focus on what you need to do, like a horse with blinders. Don't pay attention to the noise around you, because that's what's being sent our way. So heads down, focus on yourself, help where you can, and tune out the noise. And also, I think the biggest thing is, don't feed the fear. Especially if you're in the paranormal, you know what feeding the fear can do. If you go in thinking something's going to be horrible and fearful, if there's something there, it's coming after you. So just don't feed the fear. If you don't feed it, it won't come for you.
Well said. Well said. I'm gonna jump in here and say that my goal to help in 2025 is to help others raise their frequency, raise their vibration, help others see a little farther and a little deeper than we have. I've seen that there's been a lot of self-centeredness in the past couple years, and not enough on our fellow man. And we really need to work and focus on our fellow man and helping them all. This is the little absurd. We can make a difference, encouraging and change, respecting others, walk away from those who wish to antagonize. Do not accept the lies and manipulation. Take the time to see someone for who they are. Pay attention to the bad and the good. Help, not hinder. Encourage growth, no matter the age, race, or creed. Be willing to step up and be the frontal person. Don't be scared to be the guide to help somebody. Be strong in your convictions and your confidence as you move forward, and be the voice of the shepherd, and speak as spoken to and through. Yahshua and Yahweh, be the voice of the Holy Ghost, change the universe through its energy. That's how I feel. I think if we embrace science along with religion, depending on whatever religion, because all religions are the same, I think we have an opportunity to help our fellow man, and we should really consider our fellow man where we have actually just ignored them. Now it's time we need to make the change in our own planet before it's too late. And actually, do you guys know where that came from? I can't believe I'm about to say it.
Amway.
That's funny you say that, Robert. No, actually, it was not Amway.
That's
You
funny.
see, that,
Robert
that's
said
what I
it
thought your
was
mother would know.
Amway.
I was on the
What the heck is
phone.
Amway?
I was on the phone one night with a very good friend that supposedly is no longer with us. And these were his exact words. These
Wow.
words were by John Tyler.
Hmm.
These were his very words. And I felt that it was a perfect night to do that. I'm not sure if a lot of you know who John Tyler is,
I
but
do.
he was you. I knew I saw that look on your face. John was actually a good friend of mine, and we don't know if he's with us or not. We don't
I
know if he
didn't
was
know
real.
you knew him, Howie. I don't mean to interrupt, but we
No,
haven't had this conversation. I did not know you met him.
I actually knew both John Tyler and John Tyler too.
Wow.
So sharing a little wisdom from someone who's quote from the future unquote. That's what I would like to see. I would like to see that growth, and as we all help someone that needs our help, the
Mhm.
growth in mental, physical, and spiritual. And to all of you, my family, right now, and to all of you in chat, thank you so much. I am forever in your debt for being with us tonight and for you for being a part of my spiritual family. I'm so thankful for that. And marching into 2025, there's going to be a lot of new changes, and I plan to be the spearhead. I will lead the charge. I love you guys.
Well, we love you too.
Aw, we love you too.
Oh,
To all of you travelers and those alike, thank you so much. Get ready for the new year. Get ready for change and wondrous new magic and new insight. Let us be the definition of the traveler. Help, considerate, confidence, growth, reciprocation, and the eye of our fellow man. We'll see you next year. May virtue be all of yours. Good night, folks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year. Thank you for having us.
Oh, we love it.
Thank you.